Well, my name is Pastor Nathan Schultz. I'm so thankful to be with each of you. I'm often down at Reliant, but today I get to be with all of you, and I am thankful for that. Last week, Jeff shared about the hired hand that only takes from you, but then there is a good shepherd who gives even to the point of laying down his life for you. We learn more about the good shepherd today because that good shepherd, Jesus, also says these words for us today. I am the way. I am the way. It is a big statement. It is a big claim. And in my mind, it prompts big questions. You are a church who is reaching people who ask big questions. See, down at Reliant, we are you. Reliant is Christ Memorial. Christ Memorial is Reliant. And you are reaching young people, you are reaching college students, postgraduate students, you are reaching young families and people in their first careers. You are reaching people who ask big questions. And so if you've never been to Reliant, I do invite you to come down and join us in worship. And I can guarantee you'll learn something about yourself. You'll learn that maybe you want to be a part of what we're doing at Reliant and love college students. Or you will learn that you love worship at Christ Memorial and not Reliant. And that is okay. I love both places. But here we go. So big questions that people ask. Jesus says, I am the way. It prompts a question in me. Am I doing it the right way? Am I living the life that I want to live? For so many students who are asking big questions, they say, did I do it right by going to the right college? Am I choosing the life I want by finding the right major? Am I finding the right network that one day will get me the job that I finally and really want? And will I find the place that I want to live? Am I living the right way? How do I find the life that I actually want? You know, college students ask these big questions, but I'm going to be honest. I think you might too. For who of us by the age of 35 says, yes, I have finally figured out life. I am settled in my being. Does it happen at 45? 55? Someone tell me when it happens. Is it 65 at retirement? You finally feel it? No, we ask, am I doing it right? How do I find the life I want? And in Jesus' statement, I am the way, we learn that the way is not a direction or somewhere we need to be, but a person who actually comes to us. Jesus says, I am the way. Well, to give us the bigger picture as Jesus makes this claim, we learn that he's actually at a meal with his disciples. And there's some big issues that are coming up with his disciples. See, it's the night that Jesus would be betrayed. It's the night before Jesus would actually die. And so he looks at his disciples and he says, one of you is going to betray me. And they all point fingers at one another. Later on, you heard Peter say, as Jesus was going out to get some fresh air, go about his night. He says, where are you going? And Jesus says, you're not able to come with me right now. And yet Peter, he has such good intentions to live the right way and live the right kind of life. And he says, Jesus, I'll do anything for you. I would lay down my life for you. But very quickly later that night, no matter how good the intentions he set, we would find that Peter too would abandon Jesus, deny any association with him. It's because of this coming failure and abandonment of Jesus that Jesus then says these words, do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. There are many rooms in my Father's house. I'm going to prepare a place for you, but at the end of the day, what I'm going to do is bring you to myself. It's a picture of ancient Jewish wedding custom, actually, that the man would propose to the woman, and then they were essentially married at that point. But it was the man's job to go back to his father's house to build another room onto the house. And when that room was finished, go back to the woman and say, now you can come and be with me. And then the woman gets to live with her in-laws. But Jesus says, and this is important, I will bring you to myself. I will bring you to myself. See, because Jesus, as he goes about his night and into the next day, is going to die. And the disciples who had abandoned him, the disciples who had betrayed him and failed him and fallen asleep on him when they were meant to be awake, they now have some big questions to answer for themselves. Did we just waste 3 years of our lives? Are we doing it wrong? If this man whom I love so deeply, who forgave sins and healed everyone coming into his path, what do we do now? Those questions kind of reveal that life is more fragile than we might be willing to admit. All it takes is one part of our lives to crumble for the whole house of cards to fall down. All it takes is a job loss for then the stress to leak out into the marriage, into the family. All it takes is some kind of stressor or life change or death where all of a sudden we're questioning, we're spinning, who is God anyway? And it doesn't even take anything that big for me. All it takes is my car to break down and the whole day is ruined. No, see, you need Jesus who says, I am the way. Because when life is uncertain and life goes sideways, what you need most is not a solution or advice or even a cure. What you need is someone who will be with you when life has gone wrong. What you need is a person who will come beside you when life has gone sideways and nothing is going as it should. What you need is Jesus who sees you right as you are. He comes alongside you. He loves you not to give you advice or to fix things, but actually to just love you as you are and to rescue you from something much deeper that is going wrong. You need a person when life goes sideways. I'll prove it to you. When your spouse comes home and they begin to tell you about their life, what do they actually want? Do they want you to fix it? Do they want advice? Or do they just want you? When life has gone wrong and you didn't get the job you wanted or the job that you have isn't working out, do you want the friend to say, hey, let's take a look at that resume and clean it up? No, they just want you. And that's Jesus' answer when he says, I am the way. Jesus himself did not stay dead. He comes back to life. He lives again with a body, and he goes and he finds the disciples. He finds them amidst their questioning, and do you know what he gives them? Not an I told you so or you should have done better. He gives them his body. He says, touch the holes in my hands. I'm here and I'm with you. Peter, amidst all the swirling thoughts and emotions, all the fears that he had abandoned Jesus, actually has to go to work even while life is kicking him in the teeth. And it's actually Jesus who goes to his workplace, calls him out, calls him to himself, and actually forgives him instead of holding it against him. Jesus says, I am the way. The way is not a life plan. The way is not a strategy. The way is not self-help. It is not a how-to manual. The way is a person, and it's a person who comes and finds you. See, I take so much joy in not being the advice guy. I take so much joy in knowing that I'm deeply loved and that when I'm with people, it's not my job to fix their lives, but rather to point them to one who already loves them. As I meet with college students, they have questions that are way above my pay grade that I don't know how to fix, and it's not my job to fix them. But instead, I can say, before you sat down across from me, I know someone who has loved you beyond belief. Beyond any major you would achieve, beyond any decision you would make that would be the right decision, you need to know that you are loved by this Jesus who says, I am the way, and he finds you. No, we need Jesus' words in an uncertain time. Because the way is not directions, it's not climbing on the ladder to get up to him. The way is actually real. It's his body. It's actually that he is real enough to speak the words of judgment against those who hurt others, but real enough also to offer compassion to those who are hurting. You find life in a person. It's not a philosophy. It's not advice. It's Jesus himself your pastors trust your lives to. Jesus is the way, and he has come and found you. When I came back to St. Louis from my time in New Jersey, I had a lot of big questions. Had a lot of questions of, did I do it right? What did I do wrong? Am I living the life I want to live? How do I live a better life? Well, someone told me that if I didn't have the kind of clergy where I needed, right? We wear these robes and different stoles, we call them, that I could go into this mystical room that your pastors come out of having changed. And they said, Nathan, if there's not really a name on it or it looks like people aren't using it, you can use it. Well, I needed actually a stole. This is called a stole, and I needed a red one at the time. And so I go in with all of these questions swirling in my head, and I found this red stole hanging up on a hanger, and I looked at it, and it was just so much of what I needed in this image. Something struck a chord with me. It was so deeply important that I saw that there was Jesus actually finding the lost sheep and cherishing this sheep. He was holding it up and just celebrating that finally that I had found someone who was trying to find their own way. It's reminiscent of a parable in the Gospel of Luke where Jesus says there's 100 sheep and one runs away. Would you not leave the 99 to find the one lost one? And when you find the one lost one, would you not celebrate what you have found? Oh, this image was so meaningful to me in that moment. I would wear it almost everywhere I could. I would go to pastoral functions and I'd have it on. I'd go to places where pictures were being taken of me as I was standing next to other pastors. And this image, Jesus cherishing the lost sheep, was so meaningful to me. And then one day I was sitting with a pastor friend and he said, "You take this Lutheran stuff really seriously." And I said, "Well, I guess so, yeah." And he said, "Yeah, you have Martin Luther on your stole." And what I realized, what I needed was Jesus cherishing a lost sheep, and instead what I had was Martin Luther with a bald head nailing the 95 Theses onto a church door. And every part of me, my stomach kind of dropped, and I thought, you know what, I like a rabble-rouser who sticks it to the religious man, right? But you know, what I'm doing is I'm just going to keep reminding myself that this is Jesus who found the lost sheep. I'm just going to delude myself because I think we just need to get through the day. We try to find our lives. We try to find ourselves. We try to find the way forward. And instead, the way comes. The way comes and finds you. He finds you in his mercy and forgiveness. He even cherishes you. He loves you deeply. This is what we know, that the way has found us. Amen.